What's up, everyone? Grand Rising. Happy Monday. Manifesting Mondays every single Monday and Thursday, 9:30 a.m. I'm almost a redhead. It's kind of weird. But I won't be for too much longer. Hi, everybody that's joining this morning. So, what I want to talk about this morning, I want to go back to basics a little bit. Because I know that there's people on here that don't necessarily understand manifestation or how it works or why it's so important. Grand Rising, everybody that's joining. A whole thing of water just literally spilled down the side of my couch. But we'll deal with that. So, when I talk about going back to the basics, I mean just discussing a little bit of how the subconscious mind works. Because I think that certainly helps people to understand manifestation, because manifestation has gotten a reputation of kind of being in like the spiritual world, or kind of just something that's airy-fairy, when realistically it is something that is completely backed by science. And I know that we're at war with the word science right now, but it's based on the discovery of consciousness. And it is based on science of consciousness. So the subconscious mind, the best way that I can explain it, is like a supercomputer. You can't use anything that's not uploaded into your computer because it doesn't exist, right? So when you are born, mostly we have a clean computer. It's like you just purchased a computer and you're like, okay, I want to play this game on here. But the game's not uploaded onto your computer. So you can't play a game that's not uploaded onto your computer. In the same way that consciousness, a program or a game or whatever you want to call it, cannot run in your supercomputer if it's not uploaded there. So a lot of our subconscious programming happens from when we are born, or in the last trimester of our mother's womb, up until age 7 is when we're most impressionable. It doesn't mean that other programs cannot be impressioned upon the subconscious mind after that. Usually it's when something traumatic happens or something that is repeated. Like when you go to school and you're learning things, you do repetition, repetition, repetition. That's how you impress your subconscious mind, is by repeating things over and over and over again. Like your ABCs, like riding a bike. All those things took repetition in order for that to be impressed upon your mind, where you don't have to think about it anymore. You'll just know your ABCs forever, right? You'll know how to drive to your work or drive to where your parents live. You don't even have to think about it. It's part of the subconscious mind because it's impressed upon that. So if we have subconscious programming from when we are children, that it is impressed upon us, let's just say financially, your family didn't always have a lot of money. And you would always hear your parents talk about, we don't have enough, how are we going to pay this bill? Look how much this costs. How are we going to afford their schooling, or how are we going to afford to buy them clothes, or you can't have that toy, it costs too much money. All those things repetitively impress upon your subconscious mind. So then that program runs you the rest of your life, unknowingly for most people. And that is how you run your life. So when you're out somewhere and you find something really beautiful and expensive, there is that subconscious belief that says to me, you can't afford that, you shouldn't use that, you need that money for something else. That's just money in particular. Or if you were abused and you think relationships are not safe, or if you think men are not safe or women are not safe, if you were at the hands of either of those people, you will play that out your whole life with relationships with everybody that you have, until you recognize those subconscious patterns and then you actively work on changing them. The subconscious mind, 95% of your day is run by your subconscious. So if that's true, that you're only making conscious decisions 5% of your day, what does your day look like? How are you talking to yourself? What are the conversations you're having with yourself every minute of the day? So once you recognize the negative self-talk, that's the only way that you're going to be able to change that. That's the only way that you're going to be able to shift out of these deeply rooted belief systems that literally are creating our life. Most of you have probably heard the saying, maybe not, your thoughts create. Your thoughts create. And what that means is our minds are so powerful that our thoughts literally create what is in our three-dimensional world, whether it's relationships, whether it is the job you chose, whether it's the home that you live in, the car that you drive, anything, your friends. Those are all a result of your subconscious beliefs about yourself. It is a relationship with yourself. So if you believe that you're not good enough to live in a home that is safe, and that provides you shelter, maybe you have leaks in your roof or there's mold in there, and there's a subconscious belief that you don't deserve to be healthy or that you are always sick, you will manifest situations in your life that will reflect that. Journaling and positive self-talk are key, without question. Pedro, what's up? Professional athletes and military personnel do this all the time. I talked about this before. There is the Olympic ski team that has a athletic psychologist that literally walks them through winning. They already won without having already won. They literally visualization plus feeling is the key to impressing your subconscious mind. They walk them through. What does it sound like walking through the snow? What's around you? What do you hear? Do you hear announcers? Walk them through the winning moment of their careers. That is a part of manifesting. You're living as if it's already happened. So, just going backwards a little bit to impressioning your subconscious mind. Hold on, I'll answer that question in 1 second, Pam. So, going back to your subconscious, recognition is the first step. Yes, Mayor. Recognizing that you're having these negative self-talks, recognizing that you have these programs uploaded into your computer is the first step in being able to replace them, right? Because if we have this negative self-talk all day long and we're wondering why our life is unraveling so shitty, in such a shitty way all the time, those programs that are uploaded into your consciousness throughout your life, whether you were bullied, which means I'm not worthy. So you always will manifest a partner that treats you as if you are not worthy, as if you are not a priority, right? So that was just a small tidbit. 95% of our subconscious runs our day. Our thoughts create. Make a list of what thoughts are creating your reality right now. What is it that you feel about yourself? Can you go into a store and leave with gratitude? Like, thank you so much that I am able to afford this food. Or when you're eating, thank you so much for nourishing my body and keeping my body healthy, even if you're sick. That is the key, is knowing that you manifested everything that's happening in your life. Can you walk yourself backwards? Understand and realize that those thoughts are creating your reality. And even though you don't have what you want, can you be grateful and live in a state of mind as if you already have what you want? If it's a car that you want, think about what does it feel like, and these are material things. So I'm not only speaking about material things. Or if you're a woman and you've always wanted to have a child, and for whatever reason, you manifested the reality that your body is not able to have one. See it every day. See yourself giving birth to a healthy child. Whatever that wish fulfilled is, you have to live there. And it feels delusional at first. But the more you live and come from a state of gratitude, the easier it is to shift out of that negative self-talk. It gets so much easier the more you do the work. But you have to want to do the work. You can't say an affirmation once and think like, well, now my wish fulfilled is going to fall out of the sky. I want to be a millionaire. It doesn't work like that. It's all a state of mind. You can live in two mental states with someone else at the same time. So say you're in one mental state that is, I am so successful, like, thank you, and you are doing amazing in life, and you're literally standing next to a person that's living in the same reality as you, 3D, but their reality looks totally different. What is the difference? Their mindset is the only thing that is different. I'm not worthy of having a great job, or I'll never be successful. I came from a poor family. You have the victim mentality. So as long as you stay in a victim mentality that I'm never chosen, and I was bullied in school, and I had this illness, and that you identify with these things, that is your identity. There's no other simple way to put it. A friend of mine always says, whatever illness it is that he has, he always says, my so-and-so. It's like, my cancer, my arthritis. I know there's probably people listening to this that either do that or that know people that do that. My mother, my sinuses are acting up today. As long as you take ownership of the negative things that you don't want to happen in your life, you'll always be the owner. You'll always be the owner when you take ownership of something. My house is falling apart. Do you think that that's going to bring you abundance? It's not. So going back to the beginning of this, your state of consciousness is what creates your reality. So as long as you take ownership of the things that you don't want, as long as you are speaking negatively to yourself or even about someone else, your subconscious doesn't know whether you're talking about yourself or you're talking about someone else. Oh my God, she's so fat. Your subconscious doesn't know. So if you're always in a negative state, and that's just your natural state of being, your three-dimensional world is going to reflect that. It's like you're making a film in your mind. When you're thinking about things and you think about the same thing, fighting with somebody, and you go over the fight over and over again. It never happened, but you're going over this fight over and over again, and you feel it because you feel it in your stomach. This is what I'm going to say to this person, and how dare this person do this to me, and I'm going to get them back for this. Manifesting is thinking with feeling. So whether you know that you're manifesting things or not into your reality, we do it every minute of the day. So that's why it's so important to use the time before you go to sleep. Now, how many people do this? How many people, while you're laying in bed, you think of all the things that are going wrong? You think about all the things that you're stressing about. Can you comment? How many people think about that before you go to sleep? I can't believe what this person did, and how am I going to pay for that? And why is my stomach always hurting? And I hope that this pain goes away. How many people do that every single night before you go to sleep? You think about all the shitty things that are going on in your life. My voice kind of feels hoarse today. Anybody? Yes, very hard to stop. Okay, so if you do that, amazing. I set intentions and say I love myself. Someone else, I'm so happy and grateful before dozing off. You guys are the advanced students. I do bedtime affirmations. Okay, you guys are like professionals. Someone said I used to do that, but I stopped doing it. So when we use the most important time and most impressionable time of our day to think about all the things that they're stressed about, because it's like, it's so quiet, and you finally have stillness, and you use that quiet and stillness to think about, well, tomorrow I have to do this. You use it to worry right as you're falling asleep. That is the most important time of your day for manifestation. So if that's true, if as you're falling asleep, you are in the brainwave frequency that's most impressionable for your subconscious mind, would it be smarter to use that time to manifest everything that you do want as you're falling asleep? Because that is the time when your consciousness is most impressionable. So you want to use that time as you're falling asleep, not to worry about things, because worrying is lack. So if we're coming from a lack mindset, how can we manifest something great, right? So even if it's something that you're very worried about, say the opposite. Say the opposite. Last night I was up all night. I did not sleep good last night. I was up the whole night. I was up the whole night. So, why was I up all night? One reason was my lower back. I don't know why I'm having such bad nerve pain across my lower back. This is a new thing that's the last month or two. So, I could have used that time to say, why is my lower back hurting? I want to go to sleep. What the fuck? Why is my lower back hurting? I hope this pain goes away. Or, what I did is, my back feels absolutely amazing. It always works perfectly for me when I exercise, when I dance, when I do yoga. I was trying to stay in the mindset of my back feels amazing. My back feels better and better every single day. Right? How am I going to use my time? When I'm able to get into the meditative state, you can use it to manifest more of the things that you don't want, or you can use it in the best way possible. I always talk about the hijacking of our consciousness. Because again, if we all knew how the game of life actually worked, we would know that if our thoughts create, imagine we were taught this in school from when we were kids. If you think, like kids with their imagination, they're having tea parties with invisible people a lot. They're using their imagination. We stop using our imagination. We're taught to not use our imagination and pay attention to what the teacher says and memorize what the teacher is saying. So you have a war consciousness when you learn history. War is always in your consciousness. Religion teaches you to be afraid. All these things that keep us in line. It's memorization over and over again, but not in the way that is most beneficial to our existence. If we, other civilizations didn't even talk, they spoke telepathically. So when people get freaked out that they're like, oh my God, I was just thinking of you and you called me. That's telepathy. We all have the power to access that. But when you have an unhealthy diet, when you have fluoridated water, when you're using fluoridated toothpaste, when you're using all these products that have ingredients in them that are purposely put there to calcify your pineal gland, because your pineal gland is gateways and access to other realms of existence or other frequencies. So if we had full access and full range to our pineal gland, can you imagine how powerful we would actually be? And people don't often understand the pineal gland either, because did you learn about that in your biology class? Did anybody learn about the pineal gland? My guess is no. But imagine if we had schooling that taught us how to utilize our superpowers that we were given, instead of corroding those superpowers with chemicals so that we'll never be able to have access to them. And I know there's a lot of people that are feeling different illnesses right now or different things, and some people are saying that those are symptoms of upgrades and all these other things. I know, and as well as many of you know, that there is a shift happening on this earth right now. Whether we can pinpoint it, whether it's tangible, whether you can't see it, whether you can't feel it, there are just some people that are way more in tune with things that are happening right now than others. And those are the people that are supposed to be helping guide others to that new frequency. Giving information like this, talking about information like this, how the subconscious mind works so that maybe we can help other people shift. Maybe we can help other people have a better quality of life, instead of believing that whatever cards you're dealt in life are just the ones that you have to live with and play your whole life. And that's not true. You can completely change the game. You can completely change your hand in life just through thought alone. And this isn't, again, something that I just read in some random book. There are scientists all over the world that study human consciousness because it is that incredible. It is that magical. It is magic. Because nobody can explain it. It's just what it is. But if you don't even know what human consciousness is or means, how could you ever use it? You can't. So we're never taught these things. Most people will never even reach this information, because it's just simply not something we're we have access to, or something that's not brought forth in our line of thinking or seeing. We don't know about this stuff. I found it one day. My sister found this stuff one day. A couple other people in my life would tell me about, like, well, you know, you just have to think positive, but there was like never a name behind it. I didn't know what exactly it meant. So once I started to really study what this all means, it does circle back to things written in the Bible. Not that it's circling back to religion. It's circling back to faith, spirituality, and science all linked together. You know, people always say there's a very fine line between science and spirituality. They're one and the same when you really, really start to look into it. So why do we not know about this? Why do we not understand how our mind operates? And the thing is, our mind has been hijacked and using it for other things. This computer right here is a representation of the subconscious mind and exactly how it works. This is an exact replica of your mind. If there isn't a program in this computer, you cannot run the program. You can't say, I would like to use movie magic to edit my footage that I have. But you didn't download movie magic, so how are you going to use that? In the same way that if you don't have a positive mindset program in your consciousness, how are you going to use it? It doesn't exist. So how do you upload that program? You upload information into your consciousness. In the same way, you can't use movie magic until it's 100% uploaded. Then you have full access to it. In the same way that if you are trying to have a positive mindset, you're slowly uploading bits of information that are positive. I'm so grateful for this. I am so happy that I'm in this beautiful relationship. You start to become grateful for the littlest things. I'm so happy for the comfortable couch that I'm sitting on. And the more you upload the positive mindset, eventually you just live there. You live in a positive mindset. It goes up to 100%. You have uploaded 100% of a positive mindset. It doesn't mean that you have to have toxic positivity where it's like, I'm so happy all the time. That's not what that means. It just means when you shift your state of consciousness and you upload a different program than the one that you've been living with, which is, I'll never have this, I'm always sick, the victim mentality. When you replace that programming with a positive, let's just say program for lack of better words, or your positive game of life that you have slowly uploaded. Up, you're at 10%. Now you're at 15%. Now you're at 21%. Your mind will slowly start to work with you. Your mind will slowly start to shift from having this negative mindset all the time and being the woe is me and why can't I have what he has and this person has that. The only reason why your reality is the way that it is because of you. People don't like to hear that sometimes. Our thoughts create. So many of these teachings from many different philosophers say that there are no coincidences. This didn't just happen because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Something in your consciousness led you to exactly where you are. Let me read some comments for a second because I've been talking for. First, observe the belief, then create space. First, observe the belief. What is the belief? And then create space. How do we create space? By replacing our negative thinking. And when you stick to it, because it's consistency, you can't go to the gym one time and have a six-pack. I'm just very sorry that's not going to happen. You can't go on a diet for 4 minutes and then think that you're going to lose 65 pounds. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. First, observe the belief, then create the space. So if your belief is, I'm in a loving, fulfilling relationship with the person of my dreams that loves to go on the beach, has their own success, whatever it is, just whatever specific shit it is, right? And you continue to repeat that all the time and you see it and you visualize it and you feel it. and you continue to be grateful for things around you, you're creating the space, because that space that was negative is now being filled up with the things that you want instead of the things that you don't want. So you're slowly uploading that new program into your consciousness, so that when you go on your computer, you're like, okay, I want to play the relationship. I have a perfect relationship. It's easier in your mind to understand or fathom, because you replaced all those thoughts of negativeness, of I am not chosen and I'll never have a relationship and people always cheat on me and I'm always left and I'm abandoned. When you live from those spaces, you're manifesting those things. But once you start to love yourself and see all the things that you want in yourself, in someone else, in yourself, you begin to shift. And you start to feel that happiness. You start to feel those different things that feel so foreign to you, because you might feel guilty. You might feel like, well, I don't think I don't deserve this. Those are all the programs that you have to shift out. Because there are people that once they get success, they sabotage their success because they feel that they don't deserve it. I've done that many times in my life before I understood all this. I got so many different jobs that paid a ton of money, but I didn't feel like I deserved it at that time in my life. This is probably 10, 12 years ago. I don't know. But you get into certain points in your consciousness where you feel you don't deserve things. So you sabotage, whether it's the love that you finally get, the love of your life, and you constantly think about, this person's going to leave me. Like, I know that this person's probably texting somebody else. You manifest that into your reality. You, me, we are the reason why everything happens in our life. Nobody else. When we consent to things that we don't want to consent to, we are manifesting that into our reality. When we don't say no when we really want to say, or when we say no and we really want to say yes to something, or we say yes and we really want to say no to something, you're continuing to co-create your reality because you're not aligning with your truth and what your truth is. Think about that. Ask yourself that question. What is my truth? So you could say, what is your truth right now? Look at your life. How does your life look? My truth right now is that I don't have enough of this. I have a great relationship, but I really just settled for it. And there's things that I don't like about this. And then you can live in your truth that is your future self. But you can live in that in the present. So say you're in a relationship, you really love the person, but they're just not showing up in the way that you want. You have to shift your mind. You don't try to change that person. You try to change yourself. When you look in the mirror, you don't try to change the reflection. You change the person standing in the mirror. So if there's something about your relationship that you don't like, at some point in your life, you manifested that, you manifested it, you manifested it. So how do you make change to that? You make change by going inside of your mind. I'm always chosen. I'm always the priority. This person is the love of my life, or I am the love of this person's life. You shift internally. You don't try to change them. Everybody wants to change everybody else because they don't want to look at themselves, or they don't even know that they are the problem. Everything that we experience in our life, we have manifested at one time or another. When I was younger, I almost got hit by a car. And I remember thinking about that. Like, what if I'm on my bike one day and, a car comes and the car hits me or whatever. Surely enough, one day, if I was a split second earlier, I would have been under the car. But I hit the side of the car instead. So all these things that happen in our life are what we manifest. One of the best books to read as an intro to spirituality is The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. Thank you for that. When you make change, we'll get a lot of abrupt endings with toxic situations, people's jobs, relationships. That's an amazing point. So if you start to shift out of the reality that you're so used to being in, it is likely that maybe that relationship that's not working out will end, or the person will shift to how you see them, or that job that you go to every day that you're really miserable at, when you start to shift and say, I have the most perfect job at X, Y, and Z. I'm so happy every single day. This job is so fulfilling. I'm paid exactly what I want. And you're very specific about that. And you take inspired action to move towards that. Like maybe you send a resume somewhere. The job's not going to fall into your lap because you're manifesting it. Although it could, but you have to take inspired action. And just say, You ran into somebody and you're talking to somebody you haven't seen in forever, and that person says, yeah, I'm at this place, and you know what? They're actually looking for somebody. That's when you talk about divine timing. When you're at a certain place at a certain time and this thing unfolds for you that you were manifesting. Maybe you went to lunch with somebody, you're like, oh, I really don't feel like going to this lunch. Like, I'm tired. Like, I don't have it in me to just go and socialize. And you go. And say this person brings somebody. That person might end up being the love of your life. All about divine timing. So if we're manifesting things, there are certain things that are going to happen, which is called, or known as, in a lot of the manifestation community, as birds before land. Maybe if you're trying to manifest a partner, all of a sudden, like an ex reaches out to you, or a random person that you haven't spoken to reaches out to you, or you bump into somebody on the street. All these weird things are going to start to happen, or all these men or women like start to compliment you, be like, oh, you look good in that shirt. Like, that's called birds before land. It's all of these things. So I was watching one of Neville Goddard's videos last night, and he talks about planting the seed, which I've talked about, planting the seed into your consciousness. And people want to know, well, when's it going to happen? How long is this going to take? That's also coming from lack, so we'll keep that thought aside. But he talks about thinking about this. Some people can manifest things in 24 hours. Some people can manifest things in a couple of days. Some people a couple of weeks. Then he talks about how long it takes for a hen to lay an egg. I think he said 21 days. Or how long it takes for a lamb to be born. He said 5 months or something. I'm not sure on these numbers. Or a human to be born is 9 months. That is a seed that is planted. So knowing if you're a female and you're pregnant, or you have a partner that is pregnant, a woman, I'm saying, your wife or your girlfriend that's pregnant, you know that in 9 months or somewhere around that time, your baby is going to be born, right? So you don't check every day, like knocking on the stomach, like, hey, what's going on in there? Like, are you coming out? When is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? So when people are constantly checking their 3D reality for the seed that they planted of manifestation, that's coming from a period of, or a space of lack. That's, I don't have this yet. Where is this? You can't manifest from a state of lack. So once you impression your subconscious mind with this idea, every day just feel it. Not feel it in a way of like, oh, I wish I had this. Like, where is this person? When are they going to get here? When am I going to get this job? Why didn't they call me yet? No, you go from the space of, this is the most amazing job. Like, I go to work every day, and you write down like exactly what you do at your job, or how you're going to be when you're married to the person that you love. What is your life like? Right? Not, I knew this was going to happen. This is so stupid. Like, how could I even think that this was going to happen? The biggest thing that we have to get out of is a lack mindset. And all of us have these limiting beliefs about ourselves. Maybe you believe that money comes easy to you, but you're not lucky in love. Or maybe you always find the right person, but you know what? I'm just not happy with my job. There is some limiting belief in us somewhere, and it doesn't mean that our whole life has to be filled with negativity. It could be certain things that we have beliefs because that was impressioned upon our mind when we were kids or when we were in school. Maybe you're really, really good at making money because you were never chosen as a partner. So you put your life and your soul into your job, into your career, into that passion. So that always came easy to you. But maybe you made that your life because you were never lucky in love. And that's because you have a belief system that makes you believe that you're unlovable, or that you're not chosen, or that you're always abandoned. So many of us have abandonment issues. I mean, let's be honest. People have abandonment issues without even realizing that they are abandonment issues. So we submerge ourselves into other parts of our life because we don't want to feel the pain of certain things in other areas of our life. And until we like really recognize that, we sit down with ourselves and be like, why do I want to work so much? I knew somebody that was a workaholic, like would work 16 hours every day, 7 days a week. And this person did this because they weren't, and they were married, but were not able to fully connect with their partner. Never able to really fully have that connection. So this person would go outside of their marriage all the time because they didn't know how to fully connect. So they would submerge yourself in their work. So they don't have to look at other areas of their life that need changing. So they would constantly look for other places to be fulfilled. Look for other people to fulfill them. When you're empty on the inside, nobody else is going to come and fill your shit for you. No one else is going to continue to put sand in your sandbox when it's empty. That is your job as a human, to do that, to fulfill yourself. So if you have distractions in life, or someone else in my family that does this, cannot be alone for 5 minutes, has to be in a relationship, even though the relationship is constant turmoil, they'd rather be in a relationship with someone than be alone. Because why? And as a workaholic, being alone means you have to face yourself. Being alone means that no one else is contributing to your misery. So if you want to blame your shitty relationship on your misery and say, this is why I'm unhappy, and you want to pretend, be everybody's guest. But if you understand that when you are alone and when you do start to see yourself, I hate when random people just text me. But if you do see yourself when you are alone and you finally get to face yourself, that is when the true manifestations are going to happen. Because you're going to say, wow, I'm really sick of living like this. So how am I going to shift my consciousness to something better? Or you're going to continue to stay in a lack mindset and feel bad for yourself and say, this is why I can't be alone, because I can never do the, I can never live life by myself. I need somebody to help me. I need somebody to cook my food. So if you want to manifest the most perfect life, you have to get into a state of balance that is not lack. So if your relationship is keeping you in a state of lack, if your job is keeping you in a state of lack, how are you going to shift? How are you going to shift? John, I'm not being aggressive. Am I being aggressive today? I don't know. I'm not being aggressive. Maybe a little bit of aggressiveness. So, John, you got me. I lost my thought now. But anyway, choosing our reality. We get to choose it every day. So if you want to be a conscious manifester, which is what we should all aim to be, because then we are literally creating our own life. And then we can look in the mirror and say, I did this. I did this. So how am I going to undo it? If I know that I'm responsible for everything that happens in my life, I'm going to look at my reflection and be like, now you need to shift now. You need to shift. Or I can look in the mirror and be like, you always mess everything up. You'll never be as skinny as you want. You'll never have this. You'll never have the job. Like that house is you're never going to be able to afford it. I can live my life like that every day. Or I can look in the mirror and be like, what can I shift today? What's one small thing that could lead me closer to my manifestation? That could lead me closer to a life that I actually enjoy living. The last several months of my life in LA, like I wasn't even mentally there anymore. My body was physically in the space, but I actually wasn't even there. Because I'm like, I don't resonate with these people. And I have a lot of friends there. Like I have a lot of my closest people there. So I love them. But the all around energy of Los Angeles is so phony that I just couldn't bear to even live there anymore. So I manifested like, how am I going to get out of here? And not because I didn't know how, but it was just a matter of, I just spent 15 years of my life here. Am I really just going to leave? Am I really just going to pick up and leave? And the answer was yes. So during the quarantine, like I left LA, like I wasn't there. Okay, so here's a really great manifestation. And it's not great because it affected my health. I wanted to be out of that apartment. All of my history was in that apartment. All of my sadness was in that apartment. Break up with my ex, like he lived there, we lived there together. There was nothing in my being that wanted to live there. So during the quarantine, like I said, I came back here, went back to LA. I was like, I really need to go back to my apartment. Like it's been months that I left that apartment there by itself. I'm like, I really need to like go and deal with my life right now. So I went back in May or April of 2020. Didn't I get sick as soon as I went back to that apartment? I didn't know what it was for a couple of days until I went on the roof and saw the 5G tower that was placed directly over my bedroom. 10 feet from 15 feet from where I sleep. So did I manifest that? Was I obsessing over 5G before it even was like anybody even knew what it was? I was. Did I manifest that into my life? I did. Out of all the places on the building that and I lived on the top floor, the building was massive. Of all the places that you can put a small cell tower, it was literally directly above my bedroom. Did I manifest that? I did. I wanted to be out of that apartment, and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to leave my life behind me. I didn't know how to start over. Well, I was here for this long. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to start over again? That was my ticket. It literally pushed me out of my apartment that I no longer wanted to be in, and I just didn't know how to leave. And that was it. Because if I would have stayed in that apartment, first of all, I couldn't have. My health was deteriorating so rapidly, I cannot even begin to explain to you. John, I will. Yesterday, Jen had a party, so I was there. How do you manifest with journaling? Oh, thank you, Pam. I know I told you I was going to go back to that question, and I totally didn't. So journaling is, a lot of people really like journaling or scripting. So she's got a ticket to ride, the Beatles, yes. So scripting and journaling is something that a lot of people find success with. I actually do too, and I get too lazy to do it, which is a really poor excuse. But when you're journaling, you write as if you already have what you want. So say I'm just going to talk about a relationship. Maybe you have a specific person in mind, right? So it's like, I'm in the most amazing relationship with Johnny, and he has the most amazing personality. He makes me laugh all the time. He loves taking me out on romantic dates and walks on the beach, getting very specific. Or if it's a job that you want. I love that I'm working at this job at X, Y, and Z. My office is absolutely perfect. It's the perfect size. I have my computer set up in there. I have all these really beautiful artwork in there. Get really specific with, I know, because Johnny's here. He's here. Get very specific with what it is that you want. And that's really scripting. Or you can do affirmations with scripting. So I am in the most amazing relationship, the most amazing, fulfilling relationship with a man that loves to lift weights and blah, blah, blah. You just get specific. I am so healthy. Food always nourishes my body. I am going on the most amazing vacation in Greece, and I'm staying at this beautiful villa, blah, blah, blah. Very specific. So you can do your I ams as journaling and scripting, or as journaling. And if you want to do the scripting is literally writing out exactly what it is that you want. And someone said also be careful what you wish for. Really good point. I was manifesting a person I don't know when this was like last year. And I would say like, he's obsessed with me all the time. He's absolutely obsessed with me and in love with me and blah, 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 blah. Be careful what you wish for. Okay? So I randomly met someone and they didn't live in this state, which is a good thing, kind of, I guess, maybe. And within a week of meeting this person, like it was great, and like he was funny, and he was like a very protective kind of person. He was like an alpha male and all this stuff. He's obsessed with me. He is obsessed with me. He's obsessed with me. This person would not stop video chatting me, would not stop texting and call all day long. Now I'm a person. I don't like people in my space. Like I prefer someone that has their own life, that's doing their own thing, that's so busy all the time, doing their shit, and then we have time together, right? Hold that thought. Crap. Hold that thought. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh, manifesting. So he would not leave me alone. Tortured my life all day long. So I'm like, okay, I was definitely very specific, but wasn't specific enough. So that's how that went. So when we are doing our scripting, be careful what you wish for, right? So it's 45 minutes. We're going to wrap up. I hope that this was helpful. Yes, exactly. Manifesting with a man. I will be live tonight, actually, I think at 9 o'clock. So I'll see you guys this evening. Have an amazing day. And I'm sending you guys lots and lots of love.